What's up, dudes? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Dead by Daylight video. Today we're going to be building on what we've talked about over the past couple of days. If you guys haven't heard, and I'll link the video here if you want to fully hear, there was a big mid-chapter leak coming from dbdleaks over on Twitter, Discord, etc. Every outlet they have. There was a big leak for the mid-chapter. It didn't only reveal skins, legendary, and everything else. It also revealed that we were going to be getting 2 paragraphs instead of 1 chapter or 1 paragraph over the next 2 major patches. Now, as far as the first killer goes, that's going to be coming in the next major chapter, and a lot of people are speculating that it will be a licensed chapter. Today we're going to be talking about the survivor part of that, as we talked about the killer part already. But before we get completely into it, I'd like to ask you guys, if you do enjoy the video, by the end of the video, to like the video. And if you want more Dead by Daylight speculations, news, leaks, videos like this, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it, and it helps keep us going. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, the major thing about this survivor is we have no idea who it could be, what it could be. The only thing that we do know is, based on, everything that it says, is it will be an original survivor, and it is in a paragraph. Now, this survivor would be coming with the mid-chapter patch after the next chapter, so it would be coming with probably the next rework, I guess. It'd probably drop alongside that, or maybe they're just going to do the survivor and drop a killer rework for this one, just do the survivor. Now, the major question is, who could this survivor be? What could they do to justify only dropping a survivor, an original survivor, into the game with no killer or anything else, as they've never done that before, except for with licensed paragraphs, licensed survivors like Bill and Ash? Well, I actually have a theory, and it comes from the tomes. Now, a lot of people have speculated this. I even had a few people speculating on a couple of my past videos about who the survivor could be, where they could be from. Now, I personally think this survivor is going to be from the tomes, and I think it's probably going to be one of the most interesting paragraphs, chapters, survivors we've gotten in this game, and I'll tell you why. But to drive my point home and to further explain, I want to show you this video as I talk from this tome. This is from this tome. Nobody's unlocked this video yet, I don't believe, as it's from the Observer, and I'm pretty sure it's leaked all the way through the files. In this video, we see a man with a pickaxe. He looks very familiar, and you'll understand why. Because that is more than likely Evan Macmillan, the trapper, if you guys did not know, and he's running from a spider creature. Now, there are a few things we can take away from this tome video. The major thing, one of the major things, is the fact that it is looking like that Evan is the first killer that the entity got in Dead by Daylight in its realm. So that's interesting already. How do you put that together? Well, it is a big assumption and big speculation even further. It's because he's being chased by a big spider. In every other tome, in every other archive that's talked about, even with the Observer himself, the entity has always sent killers after the Observer. Always sent killers watching him and everything else from his tower, etc, etc. So why wouldn't the entity send a killer after Evan Macmillan instead of a giant spider? Well, I think that is, like I said, because he was the first killer to ever be converted. If you guys don't know a whole lot about the lore behind Dead by Daylight, Evan Macmillan was a survivor before he was the trapper. He resisted the entity for as long as he could before he gave in and became one of its killers, if not, from how this seems, the first killer. And in this video, we can see Evan Macmillan actually being at his old trappy boy ways and actually setting up a trap to kill this spider. Now, what does this all mean? What does this get put together? I think this survivor that is coming in this next mid-chapter patch will be Evan Macmillan. Now, why is that, and how can 2 Evan Macmillans exist on the same map at the same time? Well, that's very easy to answer. If you guys know anything about the archives, the lore, the Observer, you'll know that there are many different entity realms. It's basically a giant multiverse that the entity is pulling different survivors and different killers from, different worlds, different everything else, different times. So it's basically a big multiverse. So it is not completely out of the entity's grasp to be able to pull Evan Macmillan, the survivor, out of where he's at and throw him into a match, I guess we'll call a battle, an arena, of time, whatever, with Evan Macmillan, the trapper. And I think that's what they could be doing. Now, what information do we have to back this up besides this video? We only really have, beyond this is a lot of speculation, beyond this, the fact that multiple survivors and even killers have been teased in the tomes before. I'm pretty sure Ellie has been teased in the tomes before. I know for a fact the Blight has been teased in the tomes before and in previous events, and we've talked about that in a previous video as well. So I think there's a lot of grounds here to assume, especially with the Observer getting this look, them giving us this look at Evan Macmillan as a survivor. I really think it could be very interesting, and possibly the way that they show Evan Macmillan actually setting up a trap for his killer, even though it's a giant spider. Giant spider for killer, please. That'd be terrifying. Either way, I do believe they could be maybe possibly thinking about introducing some new mechanics to actually fight killers. Now, this is kind of off the wall. I don't think it would really fit in Dead by Daylight as the game is. It would definitely fit in a game, asymmetrical game like Friday the 13th was, where you actually could take down the killer, and I think that would be an interesting mechanic for DBD2 or so. But could they do it in Dead by Daylight? Yeah, I mean, they could, but I don't think it could be implemented in the best way, but it would be interesting to see them try. So we could see Evan Macmillan, the survivor, as teased, it feels like, from the tome, being brought in from when the entity was trying to break him down and turn him into the trapper and make him an actual survivor in the game. I know I would really enjoy this. I'd like to see a little bit more of Evan Macmillan, you know, aside from Trapper in the game, because in my opinion, he's probably the most interesting killer in the game, being there not purely out of joy, as some other killers like the Clown and Michael Myers, even though he's licensed, and a few other killers that just purely enjoy what they're doing. Evan Macmillan was a survivor first, and he was broken down by the entity. So to actually see this character in the game, be able to play as him, skins and everything else, that's cool by itself, but eventually get full-on more tomes and lore behind him as, you know, his time as a survivor in the entity's realm before he was turned into a killer. I think that would be interesting as hell. Now, is this possible? I think it's definitely possible. Will it happen? Maybe. But again, this is a pure speculation video. Take everything here with a grain of salt. I'm just putting together things that I feel like should be put together with what we've seen. But I want to know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I'm very interested to hear your guys' opinion on this, your take on this. Would you want this? I know a lot of people have been wanting more lore characters and characters that they tell about in the lore and everything else when it comes to the tome. So I think this is a major character to actually grab and pull into the game. And again, it's the whole big multiverse thing when it comes to the entity that's being explored, and I do think that's the direction that the tomes and archives are heading, is this big multiverse thing. So I think that's very interesting. But again, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say about it, but that's going to do it for me. Thank you dudes so much for watching. My name is Tootin. I've been your host, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.